We so far have two suspects behind the aggravated robbery which took place at Spice Supermarket in Mukono. Our flying squad unit and the Mukono police have two suspects who include Mugaru William, a 24-year-old resident of Nasuti Cell in Tawo in Mukono, and Mbogo Sam, a 23-year-old male adult and resident of Nasuti Cell as well. These were clearly identified by witnesses who managed to see what took place during the attack at the supermarket of Spice. Now, we are now working towards the recovery of the gun and also identifying other members of this gang. At least the witnesses whom we've talked to indicate that on the eve of the robbery, these suspects were sighted at one of the bars next to Spice Supermarket called Clod 9. And during the attempts to get away, one of them lost the hood and he was clearly identified. We managed to respond and have these two arrested. Like I said, our focus is now working towards the recovery of the gun and identifying other members of this gang. It appears to be more of an amateur group, because those who viewed the video, you could see that they were panicky and usually such amateur groups are desperate and high risk. They release bullets. They are willing to use violence very fast. It's unfortunate that they shot a bullet which injured second Irene. The bullet went through the stomach and exited from the back. We've gotten information that she's out of danger. We have a team from CID headquarters that is also trying to at least counsel the victim. Remember, a gun was pointed at her and eventually she got injured. Now, although attacks on supermarkets have not been so regular, we anticipate more retail crimes of this nature, especially on supermarkets, mobile money points, retail shops, and even market traders, because these are a group of retailers who continue to be at risk due to probably high levels of unemployment, use of drugs by youth, change in criminal tactics by robbers who look for soft targets where security is lax in one way or another, and also they look for the opportunity of getaway. How fast can they get away from such points of attack? So we want to continue encouraging owners or proprietors of retail businesses that because of the threats targeting them, it calls for a need to boost the security measures, like deployment of sufficient private security guards. It's unfortunate that the sole security guard was outside the supermarket and not vigilant at all, having CCTV activating alarms and connecting them to police stations. The problem with these kind of attacks is that it is after the robbers have gotten away that the victims start thinking of calling the police. But if you have an alarm that can be activated and it alerts the nearest police, it helps us to respond while the robbery is taking place, and it's easy to cut off the robbers and have them arrested. So we continue to target repeat offenders because these, in the many arrests that we've made, we noticed that Persistent or repeat offenders are behind most of the retail crimes. The attacks on mobile money points, on petrol stations, and so on and so forth. But we, however, continue to intensify our intelligence around repeat offenders, and we are also continuing to identify new hotspot areas for patrol. It's also important to strengthen the Neighborhood Watch program, among others, such that there is very good coordination among the neighborhood as far as target hardening is concerned. So we shall give an update as we get along. There was another home invasion which took place in Mukono, where the Territorial Police in Kampala Metropolitan Eastern Mukono Division are investigating a home invasion attack and robbery against Geneth Kavasha, a female cashier at Rigo Paints, and a resident of Canaan Site Estates, that is Namubiru ward in Mukono Municipality. The facts gathered indicate that the victim, upon returning home, left the small gates open. At times the maid and children and other members of the family return home late. So when she remembered to move out of the house at around 9:30 p.m. To go and lock the small gate and then come back to sleep, it was unfortunate that she found 6 thugs already in her compound. One was armed with a gun and the others had machetes, and they were inside her compound, lying in wait. She tried to run back into the house. Unfortunately, they managed to chase her, grabbed her before entering the house, and they ransacked the house, stole valuables including 5 smartphones, a laptop, a TV screen, 100,000 shillings cash, and a motor vehicle Spacio registration number UAZ283X, which the thugs used to drive away from the scene. The victims were rushed to IMC Hospital in Mukono with injuries to the head, hands, and legs. The other 2 victims in the home were identified as Deborah Natumanya and Tukashabe Paul. We want to urge the public to take extra care when inside their homes. Home invasions and robbery attacks where suspects enter the compound and lie in wait for the gates to open is very serious and potentially a dangerous crime, because you're already trapped by these thugs. We call upon extra vigilance and for people to practice safety measures. If you have come back home, it's always to put the gate, every place under lock these days because of such thugs who are on rampage. What is discouraging in this incident is that one of the neighbors saw what was happening and did not call the police. It is after we went, and then she said, "You see, I saw them and I also entered in my house and kept quiet." Yet, in such a situation, wherever you concert efforts as a community, you cause fear for these criminals to attack your locality and so on. But this was very unfortunate. So we have not yet identified who these criminals are, but a serious manhunt has already begun by Kampala Metropolitan East and Mukono Division of Police.